I love me some music. Yes, I do. Peace and blessings, y'all. This is your boy Gerald. It is Wednesday, the 28th of September, 2016. How is everybody doing? I hope you're doing fine. I hope that you are sidestepping the negativity, grounding your feet by speaking your truth, by always placing God first. Because guess what? What's at stake is your legacy. Even though it was already written by the moment that you took your first breath, your actions is what makes the colors. Your actions is what makes the accents and as well as the contrast of your story. What we're talking about is the making of you because see, they will be, unfortunately, there will never be another opportunity to have another you because God made you perfect in the beginning. And He made you so perfect, He said, I don't need another you because you are that dime. But see, until we allow ourselves to be transparent, can we actually see our best and greater days? And you know what? With that being said, there are going to be, unfortunately, 50% of the population that will not know they will not know their true potential. And when you peel that onion back, that means there is 50% of people that will never see their dreams become a reality. They will just stay the course, play it safe, not lift up the rock, nor see the sunshine. Because see, this is seeds planted long ago. This is based off of your environment. These are the things that make up your perceptions. And a lot of times we get complacent on that, and that all that does is set us up for fear. You know, fear. Finally, everything's a reality to show us things that we may not been able to deal with. But guess what? Because we have a jealous, loving God, He don't waste nothing. Because what did He tell us? Hey, look, I just need faith of a mustard seed. You realize how small a mustard seed is, y'all? We're talking about the size of the head of a pen, an ink pen. That's small. So just to water it down, He's basically telling each one of His children, hey, look, I need to work with, give me something to work with. If you give me something to work with, not only will I polish that, I will actually show you how strong you really are. I'll actually allow you to tap into aspects of your personality that you did not know existed. Who am I talking to? But see, a lot of times we allow our environments to cloud our judgment that gives more foundation to that fear or reluctancy to go forward. Who am I talking to? There is something that you've been milling over for a minute. Even though you tell your audience, I got it under control, deep down inside, you don't. And you are analyzing it to find a plausible solution that not only fits your environment, but sits in your psyche. Who am I talking to? Listen here. See, a bird can't fly unless You stretch the wings out. But that bird will never know how high to soar until it takes its first step forward. Now, we can look at this from a logical standpoint. 50% of the birds that step off into the abyss don't fly. So that right there should tell you how precious your time is. Your greatest commodity next to your soul is your time, y'all. But what does the value of time mean anything if you're not transparent to yourself? See, at the end of the day, y'all, let me make this perfectly clear because I know some people don't understand. See, at the end of the day, only person you have to answer to is the person looking back in the mirror. Because see, they are the ones, that person, that blessed person is the keeper of the things you inspire to do. How about the person you're going to become? How about the validity of what you stand for today? That is the litmus paper of your identity. We're talking about you. YOU. Give me 1 second. Y'all be right back. All right. Appreciate your patience. But yeah, y'all, I thought about that this morning. I was like, you know, I couldn't imagine life not having the opportunity to be the best me. What would life be like mundane? And then all of a sudden, as I was thinking about it, the words, that's what slavery is about, crept in the back of my mind. And it made me think because see, that's a dialogue that we don't talk about as a community. Do you realize how many people that how about are related to you, work with you, break bread with you, that wrestle with depression? Who am I talking to? Dealing with mental illness. Really, it's not an illness, it's a block. Because guess what? The devil's work is never done, y'all. Oh, yes. But a lot of that has no validity because all it is deep down inside is you're afraid. You're afraid. You're so afraid you can't even admit it to yourself. You're afraid because you have allowed a certain position. How about an ideology to convince you that that's all you're going to be? That's all you're good for. And I know some of y'all may have had to sidestep the the emotional landmines through your upbringing because you may have had someone in your influence that said, you know what, don't try. That may have said, you're not worth this. That may have said, you ain't, yeah. And that's so sad because, see, what a lot of people don't want to acknowledge is this: you can't have a broken child without a broken parent. Who am I talking to? Because you got a lot of parents that won't admit that they're dealing with abandonment issues themselves. Oh, yes. You see it all the time, especially my single moms. You see it in your behaviors. You got that little boy. You got that little boy. See, even Tyson's validating. And he's your husband. He's like your little mini me, until he starts to want to know about himself and understand why he looks the way he does, why he acts the way he does, why he thinks and behaves. The one thing that we can't avoid, y'all, is growth. Even stagnation has a period of growth. It's called denial. And what happens with anything that becomes stagnant? It dies. The real question should be, what was the block? What caused that progression to slow down? What was the linchpin that caused the flow of your life to be delayed? What? Was it your finances? Was it your immediate interactions of people around you in your environment? Because trust and believe, y'all, you see this play out a lot. You have a lot of people that have forgotten that your growth and development of who you are does not stop until you take your last breath. So does it kind of make sense when you go to seek advice from the person that you find emotional safety with, or just a commonality? They can't answer that question, especially when it comes to things of heart to heart matters. Because guess what? You do matter. But see, here's the thing: we've gotten so conditioned to live shallow. We worry more about what this looks like than what's here. Don't you realize, y'all? That only is meant. You look the way you look because of genetic heredity. But a lot of times people don't want to admit this either. See, I could turn around, you could turn around and God forbid have an accident, and the person you see in the mirror is altered physically. But guess what? What doesn't? Your spirit. Your spirit, without your spirit, you can't live. Who am I talking to? That's right. See, what's at stake is that little boy or little girl inside you. They they have the access to who you are, all your attributes, all your spiritual gifts, because that's right, God gives us natural gifts. That's why you might know somebody that they have a means of being able to take on the task without blinking an eye. Without blinking an eye, you know, well, how is it that you know this? Because that's what God gave them. But see, we live in a world where man wants to think he's God. And people have forgotten that without him, there would not be no you. Why? Because God always gives good love. He never abandoned you. You abandoned you. And it's time for you to come on home. But see, I got it. I understand. Because we live in a world where the things that should have value, that should be protected, they get set on the back shelf. We barely put time into things that really matter. Why? Because we live in an environment where we praise false validation. Maybe you're not supposed to fit in that environment. Maybe that's not the environment that should have been there all along. I'm saying this to let someone know maybe those tears that you're crying are not meant, but they continue as long as you stay in that environment. Why? God got something better for you. So let's put this on a literal sense. Before a person will ever, God forbid, have to be detained, incarcerated, before that even ever occurs, before the action even takes place, guess what happens? inside their mind, they've already willfully made a decision for that choice. That's why the two greatest gifts he ever gave us, unconditionally love ourselves and free will. You hear people all the time say, well, Gerald, well, what about all this murders and all this uh all this destruction going on? If you actually think that's God's will, you've been deceived because it's not. It never was. It never was. That's why if it was blessed, haven't you noticed the things that are blessed stand the test of time? And the things that were temporary come and go. That's not your story. But just know this. Not everybody is supposed to know your story. So why are you making a point to be the town crier? What's going on inside you that you feel that you need that extra attention? And I'm picking my words because number one, it's early in the morning. And number two, I can throw tact and discretion where I need because I know everybody that humbly follows my channel. Y'all, y'all are some of the best. Y'all some of the most spiritually and intelligent people I've ever met in my life, and you're the reason why I do what I do. Because at a minimum, y'all, at a minimum, if you get anything from me, just know this: there is somebody on this planet that wants to see you happy. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? You know, you may hear the term, well, love them from afar. Yeah, you can love them from afar, but if you're not praying for them, you're not doing it. What do you do? What's the point on doing it? That's why everything that falls from my mouth, I don't take credit for because it comes from spirit. It comes from him. It's going to reach the intended person at the intended time to touch your intended heart. You know why? Because this right here is nothing but a tool. But what I know is for sure is this: it's forever. And one day, somebody's gonna stumble across it, and what falls from my lap, falls from my mouth, hopefully will plant a seed so that you can see your worth. You're not supposed to be chasing after nobody. Why? Who told you that? Huh? Who told you that? Who told you that it's your relation? It's your responsibility to go out and find a man. How's that working? The lesson that you're getting is the opposite. God never asked you to go search for your husband. God wanted you to only prepare. You know how you prepare? You focus on them dreams you got. I know that's a validation for somebody. How about them beautiful, blessed hobbies that you sit to the side? Who am I talking to? How about them responsibilities that you know that you need to get done? Because you know, if you don't, it's holding up all the things that you need to do. So what's keeping you at bay? Is it because of him? Is it because of her? Or is it because of this? Hmm? Come on now. You gotta stop. Look, it's easy to take a position of denial. You know what happens with people that choose their denial over their dreams? Nothing. They get older. They get more docile. But can people change? People change every day, y'all. So the real question should be, who told you that you have a victim card? You're not nobody's martyr. Who told you that? Oh, well, you know, if you love me, you do this. Let me tell you what, if he loved you, why don't you have a ring? If he loved you, why does he not have a connection with God? Oh, If she was loyal, why you gotta set your watch to find out where she is? Listen here. Your friends will be few, y'all. You're gonna come to understand that. It's okay to know people, but just know the people that genuinely will earn the right to be called your friend will love you. So why would someone who loves you want to watch you fall, cause you pain? And here's something I also notice about the beautiful word friendship. A true friend will not exhaust what's required to communicate their thoughts because they want you to understand them. And the only way you're going to be able to understand them is you must be transparent. That's what the term being real is all about. But if you can't be real with the person in the mirror, does it surprise you that the people in your environment are not real to you? You shouldn't be treating your day to day like the shell game. Well, am I going to have drama today? Nothing. That's not. That's a waste of time. If you got to ask and answer rhetorical questions just for someone to be in your life, why are you wasting your time on that? What is it about them? But guess what? God gets tired. He does. And then, because the devil's work is never done, that Jezebel spirit, because you know Jezebel spirit loves destroying families. She gets off on that. She likes to presence and cause, especially you, Queen. She attacks you. She wants you to think like a man. And in the process of compromising yourself as a woman. Don't you realize you're the flower, Queen? You ain't the thorn, huh? Come on now. You listening to your girlfriend? Your girlfriend might want you to be broken and alone just like her. Why? Because she done got the tools to be herself. That's why birds of a feather flock together. But if they don't know where they're going, they'll get tired, they'll get weak, and they'll be preyed upon, not prayed for. Who am I talking to? Now, let me flip this. You may say, well, Gerald, I hear what you're saying. I got that, but my heart's broken. This person presented themselves as this, but they are this. And I am feeling the effects of that disappointment. Because that's what a betrayal, that's all betrayal is. A betrayal is a disappointment of an expectation projected from you about your environment. Who am I talking to? But haven't you noticed the things that disappoint you never take accountability? They never acknowledge where the failure, where the misunderstanding is. They don't take ownership on that. So how can you expect them to protect those tears? That bad boy don't. That bad boy don't care about your tears because he's too afraid to allow his to fall. But guess what? That's why we have correctional facilities. And what's sad, that yellow tape is not going to ever run out because there'll be somebody's daughter, somebody's son that will make the stencil, that will make your news. And it's so sad. Because, see, that's someone's dreams that have been blocked. That's another story that will not be embraced. That is another legacy that have been cut down. How about the knowledge that will be passed down to those who gonna come from behind you? Now, let's segue this for a minute because I gotta throw this out here too. Last night I happened to I was doing something. The TV was on. TV was actually watching me, you know, because I got I, I got things I gotta do. You know, my time is precious. But I saw something very disturbing on primetime TV last night, and it was a it was a show. Um, I don't know what the show was, but I saw uh, Valerie Bertinelli. For those who know her, she was on what was the name of that show? This is it. Uh, one day at a time. No, I can't think of it, but she played. Uh, she was she played in this sitcom. She was a child star, um, and she played with this other young girl as the daughter to the mom. The mom was a single mom, and you notice that, y'all. You notice those TV shows were really showing templates even back then. They were supporting single parenthood. I think about that. Yeah, you have because they're reflecting they're projecting a certain ideology so to make things normal. So there was a lot of shows that promoted single parent homes, and I didn't realize that. What's happening? Single parent home. You know, the mom always had to be strong. The mom always had to deal with the challenges. And when you think about it, it's like, well, where's the dad? You know, and let's not negate that. The woman is the anchor to any good home. Why? Because God gave you the gift of nurturement. Because He made you female, and I got love for you. So I understand, but society now wants you to take the role of the man. Queen, that ain't your position. Don't get caught up on that. Your life will have pitfalls and challenges. But guess what? Some of those challenges are not meant to be shouldered by yourself. Uh-uh. Don't you realize the one will be able to facilitate every desire you could fathom and the ones you can't? Why? Because he will have on his spirit what it will cost, the responsibility to hold your heart. But if he don't have a relationship with himself, it's because he don't have a relationship with God first. That is the first illustration, as well as dedication and how about integrity forged by God. Because that's what is required for your self-worth. Your self-worth and self-esteem cannot be measured by materialism. Materialism is exactly what that is. You spend less to possess, but someone made more off of that. That's why when you go, that's why when you go into a store, you see a shirt on, you see a shirt hanging up. That shirt has no value until you decide to buy it. You ever thought about that? But what happens? That shirt ends up being in the closet and you don't buy it. You don't even wear it. Why? Because you didn't need it. Or maybe what you had was better all along. You ever thought about that? But now, not only is the dynamics of the roles being flip flopped, you have a whole lot of men that are emotional. They act like women. Let's call it for what it is. They act like women. But here's the problem: they have no communicational skills. So what happens? They show by action. What would life be like if they had someone just to sit down with? How about that little boy that the physician say, "Oh, he got ADHD." No, he don't. He ain't got no ADHD. He need attention. Meanwhile, you setting that little boy up to be a pill popper the rest of his life because you're forging an ideology that he needs that. You realize how many uh, hypochondriacs walk around? You don't believe me? Just look in the medicine cabinet. They got every damn pill out under the sun. You don't need none of it. If they just decided to be happy, if they decided to love themselves, if they decided to ground their feet by speaking their truth. Most people say, Gerald, I want truth. Why won't somebody keep it real with me, Gerald? Because you won't keep it real with yourself. Don't you realize what's in your spirit you put out, it comes back. You know that also is the law of attraction. No, there ain't no law of attraction. It's divine. It's down. It's your spirit. Don't you realize? Okay, let's put this from a literal sense. Just like you have your cell phone, it has a chip. Your body has your soul. That is your beacon. And haven't you noticed by your choices? How about your placement? Your reality matches it. So if you turn around and do something that is resentful, you see it again. If you treat somebody unkind, somebody treats you unkind. That's not by chance. That's meant for you to understand, number one, the perspective of the lesson, but it also shows you, teaches you what being empathetic is. To see people from their position. That's what having the discernment to navigate what is being presented. Don't you realize the devil will give you anything you want? You do understand the devil was God's number one angel, and he was the most beautiful one. So what makes you think he can take your fantasies, make them into a false reality, only to convince you you're not worth it? So then, hence, the woman of your dreams comes into your life, and you're like, I can't believe it. You're right, don't believe it because that's a test. You don't believe me? Look at the dynamic of the women out on the populace now. They all strive to be trophies. Well, guess what? You can't grow with a trophy. You can only look at a trophy. And what happens to most trophies? They get forgotten. They get dust on them. They get discarded. Your life is the greatest story ever learned. And those who will have the right to know your story will treasure it. Each one teach one is what they said. So if your environment doesn't inspire you, you're in the wrong environment. But you're gonna stay there until you're willing to be honest with yourself. I know there's somebody right now, you having an argument in your mind every day. You got a constant reminder of what you ain't supposed to do. Some of y'all dealing with your relationships that way because you know damn well they don't deserve to hear you breathe. But they there. You know why they there? Because you have not humbled yourself and asked God to step in. But see, I know that I know this too. Whoever has the stronger spirit, the weaker one will take on the traits of the strong. So if that person has a controlling disposition, you're gonna learn what it feels like. You're gonna learn what it feels like to be controlled. But if you don't witness it, If you don't understand what is taking place, you're gonna turn around and inflict that on somebody else. Oh shoot. Some of y'all know this. Where were you at when this song dropped? Classic. This song came out in 1990. Still sounds good. Some of y'all are doing that right now. Spending hours on the phone to somebody that shouldn't even hear the first syllable fall from your mouth. But to them, to them, they're an enigma. They're mysterious. They're alluring. You know why they're all that? Because they're gonna use those same traits to lure you away from what you need to do. Who am I talking to? Your money was straight before they came into your life. And every time you're around them, it's like they proverbially pulling the plug out of your bank account and just I'm no, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Because I know somebody's going through some hard times. We've all been there. We've been there. I've seen this play out. But see, it's natural to want to see the best in all people. But what if that person can't see the best? And so society wants us to have this pimp and hoe mentality. That's what they want. Don't question it, just roll with it. That's the mindset they got. Well, your life is not supposed to be something to roll with. It's something to be honored. But you know what? This goes back to my first thought. There are 50% of the people on this populace, on this planet, that will never live none of their dreams. They've given up on themselves. And you see it in their actions. They just mundane. They're just, I'm here. You see it in their behavior. And the sad thing about it is you may have tried to show compassion, but anything remotely close to that, they sidestep it. You know, I'm gonna tell you something. Devil's doing some work on that person. That person's tormented, and that's a problem. You got a lot of people that are broken, and they know they're broken. They've acknowledged their brokenness, but but it's a way of life to them. So when someone comes into your life to show you otherwise, what do? You reject it. You reject it because you don't understand how. That's God. God will bring people in your life that you don't deserve for two reasons: to show you you are worthy, as well as to show you what you could have potentially if you do the work. But most people don't. Most queens, you think you're supposed to be with that walking pit bull? Hmm? He treats you like garbage, but you won't leave him. Why? Why? You just want them to be by your side, and they don't know where they at. Don't you know that? Don't you know? Don't you know you're beautiful? You know that. Don't you know you're priceless? So why are you selling? Why are you going out so cheap? The real question should be, why won't you love yourself? Or better yet, what will it take before your eyes are open? Don't you know I love you so? Don't Don't you know? That's God. Don't you know he loves you? He waiting for you to come back to yourself. Because if you have the courage to do that, you have the courage to hold on to your blessings when they come. You are. Don't you know that? Don't you know? Do you know that you got blessings with your name on it that are waiting for you? The moment that you decide to be honest with yourself, don't you know? I really, really love you. Yeah. Don't you know? Don't you know that you deserve to be happy? I really, really do. Yeah. Know that. Don't you know? Man, I miss me some Luther. But if you're spending your days feeling like you're in this planet by yourself, nobody gives a damn about you, your life doesn't matter, I'm here to tell you that is so not true. Because God's got your back. He always did, because you're his child. Love me. Don't you know that? Don't, don't you know? Don't you know? God loves you. You're worth $1,000,000. So why don't you see your worth? You are priceless. There'll never be you. There'll never be another you. Why won't you come home? Is that paying more worth your life? Is that loyalty to that denial worth your dreams? Is that betrayal worth your time? Why won't you come home? Why won't you come back to that little boy and that little girl in the mirror that's waiting to say, why won't you love me? Why can't we see it for what it is? We deserve better. Who am I talking to? Because when you do, your life, your perspective, your perceptions will be made new. Because nobody can live your life. Nobody. So, what you waiting on? Huh? Huh? And when you do, that's what you be doing. You be looking back, you're like, man, why didn't I see it? Because your validation for whatever that problem was right there. Right there, but you couldn't see it. Why? Because that fear was doing this. Nah, the devil's a liar, y'all. Don't you realize that? The devil wants you to stay stagnant. He wants you to stay right where you are because as long as you stay right where you are, he'll keep running shot over your life. He'll keep bringing them bad people in your life too. Why you with that person? They got to put their hands on you. Who am I talking to? Why you with that person and y'all can't build nothing? Every time that you try to build something, they always tear you down. That's okay. Don't compromise your self-worth or your dignity just to have somebody in your life. The person that is meant to come into your life will come into your life after you prepare. Because they don't care. Let me tell you something, Queen. Let me let you know. I want you to understand this. A good man is hard to find. Why? Because you can't see him from your eyes. You feel him in your spirit. But I'm going to tell you what, because I'm one of them. Outside your door, we're not going to act like your dad. Because you should know how to treat yourself and carry yourself accordingly. But you know what we won't do? We won't give our name or risk our legacy to someone what we're gonna do right here is go who back. Can't value it. Way back into time. When the only people that existed were troglodytes. Hmm? It's time for you to come back. Stop running. And time for you to come back. You realize how prolific 2017 is going to be for a lot of us? For those who have done the work, you about to springboard. Everything that was denied, that was delayed, is going to come. Your harvest is coming, y'all. You might have been, you may have been in a position economically. Your springboard is coming. Oh, why you think it was written? Those who are last will be made first, and those who are first will be made last. Why? To teach you what humility is. To actually give you a perspective of what it is from another person's perspective. These are all the tools required inside you. Because nobody's going to do your work. Let me let you know that now. No one will be able to step into your direction either. They can relate to it, but they'll never be able to embrace it because you see the world, it's custom tailored for you. So if you think there's gray clouds over your life, don't worry. You can't stop the sunshine. You can't stop that. So you ready to claim your life back? Or are you going to turn around and say, well, you know what? I'm going to end, because here's the worst case scenario out of that. You'll end up being like those people in the cheap seats. They got a bunch of opinions and they got no support. And guess what? They have no resolution. And guess what happens? They have no direction either. Why? Because the foundation is not stable. So that's why they have a impulsive disposition. They also suffer from control issues. Why? Because they are inside. There is no balance. See, if you're going through life looking over your shoulder, remember what you had to say with who you were with, you ain't at peace. You might as well go ahead and put the shackles on your hands and your feet because you ain't living your life. Whoever told you that is life, guess what? They ain't living either. And that's the reason why misery loves company. That's the company you're not supposed to have, y'all. This is not a position of being arrogant. This is a position of claiming your rightful blessing. And you can do it. But yeah, there are going to be times you're going to be by yourself. You know why? To give you an opportunity to focus on the things that you put to the wayside, things that were of value. Hmm? You ever thought about that? You didn't think that those challenges and those tasks that you said, "Oh, I'll get to it later." We're gonna go somewhere? No, they're not going anywhere. No, they're there. They're there. So you know what? What? So what did you think? What did you think? Did you actually think that they were just gonna? If you forgot about it, nah. They're waiting there. They're taking on a life of their own. But guess what? There is no challenge that cannot be championed. So if you're living your life and you can't see down the road, what's keeping you from seeing it? What's blocking your view? Maybe what's blocking your view is because you have yet to stand up. That's right. Get off your knees. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Take acknowledgement of what has transpired. Yes, acknowledge that. But allow the insight to come from the experience. That's the only way you're going to master that. And you know what? The people that don't do that, guess what? They stay in a cycle or a spiritual holding pattern till they do. So, does it surprise you? You see that one? She can't keep a man no matter how hard she tries. You can't listen. Society wants you to reinvent yourself. You ain't gotta reinvent yourself. You have to embrace who you are. Just like that flower. You can't smell the fragrance until the petals have properly opened up. They can't open up until the stem is strong enough to, to hold the weight of the petals. But it matters not if the roots don't run deep. But some of y'all got roots that are embedded in pain. Don't just look. Until you decide to love yourself, the devil's got you. That Jezebel spirit is going to deplete you. And nothing comes out of that but death. That's all prolonged pain is. Death. Why are you fast forwarding your story? Maybe the things that should die are the things holding you back. You ever thought about that? It's time for you to come back. Will the real you stand up? Because until you do, you ain't living. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. You're halfway through your week, y'all. Sidestep the negativity. Because negativity loves misery and misery loves company. And that is not a table that you're supposed to sit upon. Keep stepping, keep praying, and placing God first, and watch what he shows you. And here's the thing. It was there the whole time. Why? Because you're blessed. Have a great week.